Thank you, friends, for tuning into this special edition. We are dealing with a very hot topic when it comes to healthcare in India, diabetes. The rate of diabetes is quite high in our country, and many people, probably because of their lifestyle or because of their food habits, we really don't know. We have an expert to tell us all this. That is Dr. Santosh B. He is a consultant endocrinologist in Baptist Hospital in Bangalore. He has done his MBBS from KIMS Hubli. He did his master's MD in general medicine from Mysore Medical College. Then he did his DNB in endocrinology from Yashoda Hospital in Secunderabad. His areas of interest is diabetes mellitus, thyroid disorders, osteoporosis, and also pituitary disorders. Thank you, Doctor, for joining us to clarify our doubts regarding diabetes. We warmly welcome to you to this program on behalf of FIBA and also on behalf of our listeners.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, we all know the word diabetes and we all have certain ideas about it. But what is diabetes?
Uh, yes, coming to diabetes, so it's a disease or a condition where the blood glucose levels, or in simple terms, the blood sugar levels in a person are more than the normal range. So basically, every normal person will be having sugar levels in the blood, but normally it should be below 100 in fasting state. So when we do a fasting sugar test, it should be below 100 mg per dl. And at the same time, if we do the blood sugar levels 2 hours after food, that is postprandial, after 2 hours, it should be below 140. So this is the normal range. When once the sugar levels cross this level, then we label it as either pre-diabetes or diabetes. So what we do is we do a test, and if the fasting sugar is between 100 to 125, then we label it as pre-diabetes or borderline diabetes. If the fasting sugar levels is more than 126, then we label the person as diabetic person.
So,
Similarly, if
doctor,
we
may I interrupt? You are saying that there is no other way to find out a person is diabetic or not unless you go and do a test. Is that what
yes,
you say?
yes,
Okay.
that's the issue,
But
because
then,
yeah,
tell me.
because most of the people who have diabetes, they are asymptomatic. There will not be there will be no symptoms as such. So only
Okay.
when we do the blood sugar levels done, that is the time when we get to know that person is diabetic or not.
Okay.
So
So there is no symptom as such for a diabetic person so that he will go and do a test?
there are certain symptoms, but very few people develop it. Less than 30% of people who have diabetes, so they will have
Uh,
symptoms. But
so
more than
what
62 is.
so what are those symptoms if
So,
there is?
yeah, coming to symptoms of diabetes, as I told, most of them will be asymptomatic. They'll be absolutely fine. But
Hmm.
about 30% of people who have diabetes, they can develop some symptoms like they'll have increased thirst, increased hunger, there'll be increased urination. These are some of the common symptoms. But apart from this, some people may develop numbness or burning sensation or tingling sensation in their feet and hands. And few people who have very high levels of blood glucose levels, they can have some amount of weight loss.
Okay.
And some people also have some vision abnormalities like blurring of vision.
Hmm.
But most commonly, what we see is many people come with some infections like urine infection or some pneumonia or some skin infections or any wound or ulcer which is taking long time to heal. So these are some of the common symptoms with which diabetic patients present. But as told, most of the diabetic person they'll be asymptomatic. So only when we do a test, we get to know whether they are diabetic or not.
So that means this is a part of the medical procedure that if a person comes with any of these symptoms, you write for a diabetic test, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Not only these things, it depends on other factors also, like the age of the person, the family background of the person, and the other associated symptoms or any other associated diseases.
Uh,
So we take into consideration of all this, and if required, we do a sugar test. But most of the times, we do a sugar test as a basic routine test for most of the people.
so you mentioned about age. There are people who don't have any medical problems, as such. They are normal. They live a normal life. But is there a certain age after which a person should go and do a especially a diabetes test?
Yes, yes. So, if the person is having any risk factors, for example, if the person is overweight or obese, or if the person is having any other associated blood pressure or cholesterol levels are high, or if there is a family history of diabetes, or if a female has been suffering from PCOD. So in these situations,
What is PCOD? Sorry.
yeah, sorry. PCOD is polycystic ovary disease, which is very common in younger women in the age group of 20s and 30s. So if these risk factors are there, it's better they go and get tested for sugars as soon as possible. But if there are no symptoms, there are no other risk factors as such. If the person is of normal weight, if there are no other risk factors like family history, or if the person is not suffering from any other illness, then once we reach 45 years, it's mandatory that we need to do blood sugar levels for everyone,
So,
irrespective of other risk factors.
so 45 years is a cutoff. Like after 45 years, anyone should do a diabetes test, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. That's a very important information for us. Now, what there are different types of diabetes, or it's because all the diseases these days they say that there are different types. So, is diabetes also like that?
Yes, yes, of course. Diabetes is also having different types, but most commonly what we see in our clinical practice is type 2 diabetes, and followed by diabetes during pregnancy and type 1 diabetes. So apart from this, there are other diabetes which we commonly call them as secondary diabetes. So type 2 diabetes is the commonest type of diabetes which we commonly see in elderly people. This type 2 diabetes usually occurs as a result of the insulin which is produced in the body is not functioning properly. So because of this, the sugar levels increase. So this is commonly seen in elderly people, but nowadays because of change in the lifestyle, because of increased sedentary lifestyle and changes in the dietary patterns, so we commonly see even children and adolescents becoming overweight and obese. So even they are developing type 2 diabetes. But type 2 diabetes, as I told, it can be controlled with the tablets, and there are certain situations where insulin may be required, but most of them can be controlled with tablets itself. So the other form of type diabetes is type 1 diabetes, where the insulin is not produced at all in the body. So this is commonly seen in younger age groups like children and adolescents. Because insulin is not produced in the body, so most of like all of these patients will require insulin as the treatment modality. So there is no other option apart from giving insulin to these people.
Now, insulin is produced in a normal body. I think it is pancreas, right?
Pancreas.
So, if pancreas is producing part of the insulin, then you can supplement it with medicine. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes. So in type 1 diabetes, actually what happens is there is complete destruction of pancreas. So there is almost no insulin produced in the body.
Okay.
Whereas in type 2 diabetes, insulin is being produced, but it's not working efficiently. So as a result of time, as a result of which over time, the insulin production also comes down gradually. So this is the issue.
Okay. So what is the cause of diabetes? Because you said various types, but why does it happen?
So coming to type 1 diabetes, the cause is usually there is not a specific cause known, but there are some viral infections or some autoimmune conditions which will attack the pancreas. So this happens right from the beginning. So because of which the pancreas starts getting destroyed, and the beta cells start becoming less efficient and stop producing insulin. So this is the cause for type 1 diabetes. Whereas type 2 diabetes, usually it's a multifactorial cause. It's not a single factor that leads to type 2 diabetes. It's multiple factors which come into factor. There can be genetic issue. The family background is there. If the family history of diabetes is there, the risk will be more. So apart from that, there are some genetic issues also in type 2 diabetes, which predisposes a person for developing type 2 diabetes. And along with that, the most important factor is the environmental factors, or what we commonly call it as dietary factors, or the lifestyle changes, and the weight of a person. So all these factors come together, and they lead to development of type 2 diabetes.
Okay. Now, any disease for that matter, in our country, there are different treatment styles. The traditional treatment is there. So whenever a person becomes diabetes, at least 2-3 people will come and tell you that there is a medicine. If you eat that, if you take that medicine, your diabetes will be completely cured. Is it possible to get 100% cure from diabetes?
Yeah, this is the most common question what most of the people with diabetes ask, but the answer is right now it's no. There is no complete cure for diabetes, but there are certain situations where diabetes can be controlled without medicines, or in medical terms, what we call it as diabetes gets reversed or it goes into remission. So This is mainly occurs in people who are overweight or obese, and if they develop diabetes, in such a group of people, if they follow strict lifestyle, if they're able to follow healthy diet and do regular physical activity, and if they're able to bring down, reduce their weight by almost 5 to 10% from whatever it is there, then there is chance that about 50% chance that people can get back their sugar levels back to normal without any medicines. So this has been proved in multiple trials as well, multiple studies as well. So, but again, this is just a temporary phenomenon. It is not that once the sugar levels come back to normal, they will remain without diabetes for a lifelong. So there is chance that in future the sugars may start again increasing. So the thing is, once the sugar levels are in the normal range, if the person goes into remission, it's important that they need to keep monitoring their sugars frequently, at least once in a year, and see if there is recurrence of disease or not.
So the key is in treating diabetes, you have to monitor your diabetes. Is that right?
Yeah, that is the most important thing.
Okay. So you can't say that, I'm not diabetic without testing. You feel good. I don't have any disease. That is what many people say. I am feeling all right. I look all right. I'm okay. So they think that they are not diabetic, but that may not be true.
Yes,
is that right?
That is absolutely fine. Correct.
Okay. Now, what about the treatment for diabetes? What are the normal treatment that you prescribe? I'm not asking for a prescription, but what are the methods by which you would treat diabetes?
Yeah. So treatment of diabetes is very important, not just in short term, but the main aim of treating diabetes is to prevent the future complications. So when it comes to treating diabetic person and controlling blood glucose levels, there are different issues, but the most important things are four pillars. You can just call them as four pillars of treating diabetes. First important thing is the diet. So unless you follow strict healthy diet, it's impossible to control sugars. The second pillar is the exercise. Third one is taking regular medicines as advised by your doctor. And the fourth one is keep monitoring or checking the sugars frequently. So
let me see if I got them right.
Yeah.
Number one, diet. Second is exercise. Third one is medication. And fourth one is monitoring.
Yes.
So these four pillars. I think our listeners will remember this. That's why I repeat it. Okay, go ahead, Doctor.
So yes, coming to diet, as I told, it's very important because unless the diet is followed, it's very difficult to control sugars. And what we usually advise for diabetic person is to maintain a proper timing of meals every day, and they have to take meals not at once together and give a lot of gap in between. They have to take frequent meals at a smaller quantity. So they have to split their calorie intake into 6 meals. So they have to take.
Yes. Normally we say no, bada khana or bigger ota. That is not for
that is not for diabetes. Yes.
Okay,
so what we do is when what happens is when we take excess quantity of food once and give a lot of gap in between, so there will be fluctuations of sugars. So sugars may shoot up suddenly when we eat a lot of food, and if you don't take any snacks in between, the sugars will fall down. So these fluctuations of sugar levels are also very dangerous. So just to prevent this, what we advise is to take 3 major meals in the form of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And in between these major meals, they can take a small snack. So in the form of some salads or some vegetables or some fruits, can take some snack in between these major meals. So this is one thing. And the other thing is they need to avoid simple sugars, simple carbohydrates like sugar, cakes, jams, cold drinks, fruit juices. And as far as possible, try to replace them with complex carbohydrates like millets. So which will not increase the sugars all of a sudden. And apart from this, it's also important, to increase the amount of fruits and vegetables, which are good for health. So even among the fruits, it's important. They need to avoid fruits like banana, mango, sitapal, sapota, jackfruit, these kind of things, which can increase the sugar levels. So they can take other fruits like apple, orange, watermelon, papaya, guava. These are safer fruits for a diabetic person.
Okay. So you mentioned about complex high carbohydrate. What is that?
Complex carbohydrates are the ones. So, for example, the whole grains. Okay, so it will not increase the sugars all of a sudden. They have lower glycemic index. So they'll be.
Can you give an example? You mentioned about millet, right?
Yes, millets. So millets, whole grains, wheat, jawar, all these are complex carbohydrates. So they'll be digested very slowly, so which will lead to gradual increase in the sugar levels in the body. So there'll no sudden increase in the sugar levels. So these are good for diabetic people.
So your main point is that the carbohydrate should be absorbed slowly into your body.
Yes, yes,
right? Okay.
yes.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
So, and apart from these, other things are like we need to restrict the oil intake also, the fat intake. So, what most of the guidelines recommend is for a person in 1 month, they have to consume less than half a liter of fat, which includes all oil and fat things. For example, butter, ghee. So, for example, if there are 4 members in a family,
Huh.
so the oil consumption, including butter, ghee, it should be less than 2 liters per month. So, this is what most of the guidelines recommend, and this is also recommended for diabetic people. So, this is
Oh, I
very
see.
important. And
So
yes,
1 month, half a liter.
yeah, per person. So,
Okay. Okay.
and apart from this, it's also important to restrict the salt intake also, because most of the diabetic people, they are prone to develop blood pressures.
Hypertension.
Need to
Yes.
restrict the salt intake as well. So these are some of the dietary modifications which have to be followed by a diabetic person.
Okay. Now, in our, it's, I don't know whether a dietitian should answer this question. See, our lifestyle, in our food habits, a lot of carbohydrate like rice, chapati, idli, and dosa, and then we have some chutney, and that's the way we eat.
Yes,
Don't
sir.
you think that it is a very difficult thing to change diet like this? What is your say on that?
Yeah, like because problem is with our culture, because if you compare the diet which Indian people take and compared to the Western diet usually contains lots of proteins. More than 60% of diet contains proteins.
Okay.
Whereas when it comes to Indian food culture, but just 20 to 30% just contains proteins, and the remaining is just either in the form of carbohydrates or
Mm.
fat. Especially the carbohydrate content is almost 60% in Indian food. So it's
Mm.
difficult to change it, but as far as possible, you can just like replace the simple carbohydrates from complex carbohydrates and reduce the intake of direct sugars and
Mm.
increase the amount of fruits and vegetables. So
Okay.
these are some of the simple things that we can start gradually and then
Okay.
make a changeover.
So main thing is to change a lifestyle when it
Yes,
comes to, yes. Okay. Okay. So you talked about diet. Then the next pillar is exercise, right?
yes. Yeah, like the supplementary to diet is the exercise. So it's very important because doing exercise will improve the activity of medicines or whatever the tablets we take. So they'll
Okay.
become more, they'll start
Effective.
acting in a better way.
Mm.
They become more effective, and it will help in controlling the sugar levels. So at least every day we can involve ourselves in at least half an hour of some kind of physical activity. So it
Okay.
could be either in the form of brisk walking, jogging, or swimming, or doing a treadmill. So
Okay.
whatever is possible, at least we have to do half an hour a day. Half an hour a day should be kept separately for doing exercises.
Okay.
And for some people, it's very difficult to find time at a stretch. So
Uh,
what they can do is they can even split this half an hour into 2 or 3 different timings. So
okay.
morning they can do some exercise for 10 to 15 minutes,
Uh,
and evening whenever they are free, they can again do some exercise for another 10 to 15 minutes. So
mm.
even they can do this one also.
One question here. Many people have this doubt. There are some people who are extremely athletic, very, they work physically very hard, and they still get diabetes. Why is that?
Yeah, that's what, as I told previously, diabetes is multifactorial. It's not just
Okay,
because of
it's
one
not.
reason that we get diabetes.
Mm.
So there are multiple reasons why we get diabetes. So it could be in the form of a genetic issue, or in the form of familial inheritance, or some
Mm.
other environmental factors, and even the amount of stress also. Because nowadays the stress is very important.
Okay.
Most of the people will be under stress due to some different issues. So all
Okay.
these factors come into matter when it comes to development of diabetes.
Okay.
So that's the reason why even people who are actively involved in physical activity, when they develop diabetes.
Okay. Dear friends, we are listening to Dr. Sandosh from Baptist Hospital, who is an endocrinologist. He is giving us important information on diabetes. Now, he has told us two pillars. That is, one is the diet, second one is the exercise. Now, we'll go to the third one, which is medication. Now, tell us, doctor, what kind of medication are available, and what are the things a diabetic patient should be careful about?
Yes. Yes. So coming to medicines again is very important, because most of the diabetic people, they will require medicines, because very few people can be controlled, can control their sugar levels with just lifestyle modification. But more than 99% of people, they will require medicines. So luckily we are in an era where we have very good advancement in medicines, because we have different types of oral tablets for treating diabetes, which have very less side effects. So apart from that, we have advancements in the insulin also. We have got newer insulins which will cause low risk of developing low sugars. Because earlier insulins they had the risk of developing low sugars, but now with advancement in technology, we have got different newer insulins which are very safe. And apart from that, we have medicines which can be just taken once in a week also. They are available in the form of injections. So once in a week is sufficient to control sugar levels. So with all these newer medicines which are available, it's become very easy to control diabetes. So, but the thing is, important thing is you have to meet your doctor and take proper advice, because the same medicine will not suit for two different diabetic people.
Okay.
It depends on person to person. You need to take into consideration the different factors, the different patient factors, and then choose a drug which is effective for that person. So, so apart from diet and exercise, taking medicines accurately is very important for controlling sugar levels.
Okay. Now, there are medicines that are taken orally and insulin is directly administered. So, what is the difference in these two? Because some people are so scared of injections, so they want to avoid the
Yeah.
shots.
Yes. So that's what the most important misconception about insulin is the fear of injections, because many people they don't want to take injections every day. So and many patients they require multiple injections if they are on insulin, so control their sugar levels. But the thing is with the newer technologies what are available, now the insulin is available as a pen. It's available as a pen device where the needle is very small and it doesn't cause too much of pain also. It's very simple to use. So these are some of the newer techniques that are available. And the other thing is people should be aware that insulin is one of the safest medicine that is available for treating diabetes, because apart from causing low sugars whenever the dose becomes excess, insulin has no other side effects as such. So any person who
Okay.
is having, yes.
So, insulin is actually a hormone, right?
Yes, yes, it's a hormone. It's the
So,
same
this
hormone
is
which is produced by the
uh,
pancreas.
so you are not actually giving a foreign body into your
Yes,
putting into your body. Yeah, okay.
yes.
But the tablets that you take, they are not producing insulin, are they? Please tell us how the tablets work.
Yeah, so that's all. There we have different types of tablets. So some tablets, what they do is they act on the pancreas and try to increase the amount of insulin production. So
So
that
it's a kind of manipulation.
yes, yes.
Okay.
So these tablets will stimulate the pancreas to produce insulin. So these are one kind of one type of drugs which we have. The other type of tablets are those which act directly in the peripheral tissues like the other organs like liver and muscles, where they try to increase the effectiveness of insulin which is already there in the body. So these medicines try to increase their action. So this is one kind of tablets we have, and recently we have some newer drugs which are right now considered to be the best diabetic drugs. So what they do is they have multiple actions. So they act in the brain also to reduce the appetite. So they act in the stomach and the intestine to reduce the absorption of glucose levels. And we have drugs which can act on the kidneys and increase the uh, uh, they reduce the reabsorption of glucose, so that the glucose whatever is present in the blood, it will go out through the urine. So recently we have many different types of tablets which act in different ways to reduce the sugar levels in a person.
Now, whatever medicines have been administered, especially oral medicines, if a person becomes diabetic at the age of, for example, 40, now for the rest of his life, he's going to take that tablet, right?
Yes, yes.
So, for example, if a person lives till 70, 30 years he will be using that medicine. So,
Yeah.
don't you think that it will cause some problem to the body?
No, no, this is the one of the most common misconception which people have, because many people think that once they start taking diabetic medicine for a long time, it can affect their organs like kidney or liver. But this
Okay.
is absolutely false actually.
Okay.
In fact, the kidney problem or the liver problem that arises only because when the sugar levels are not controlled for a long period of time. So these
Yeah,
tablets,
that's a greater danger.
yes, yes. So
Okay.
these
Okay.
tablets, they don't in fact have any adverse effect on any of the organs. But of course, it's important that there are situations where we cannot use these tablets. For example, if a person is already having some kidney issue due to some other reason, or if a person is suffering from some heart disease, or if a person is having some liver disease. So in such group of people, we cannot use these tablets.
Okay.
But we should know that these tablets per se don't cause any harm to the any of the organs.
Okay, okay. So, in fact, I had this question about the consequence side effects. So, you have partially answered that question. But the main thing that we should remember is neglecting diabetes can cause a greater consequence to your body than these medicines.
Yes,
Did I
yes,
hear it right?
yes,
Okay. So, uh, by no way you can't neglect this diabetes. It
yes.
can be dangerous.
Most important.
So, what are the damages that diabetes can do if it is neglected?
Yeah, so the complications of diabetes we can broadly divide into two types, like acute and chronic. So
Ah,
acute complications are those which can happen immediately within few days.
okay.
So among these complications, we have something called as DK, that is diabetic ketoacidosis. So which is commonly seen in type 1 diabetes in children. So the other acute complication
So,
is
what is
HH.
the symptom of that? That's a big
So
word for us. That's why I'm
yeah,
asking.
diabetic ketoacidosis, it's commonly seen in younger children with the type 1 diabetes. So
Ah,
whenever they skip taking insulin, so
ah,
they develop this DK. So DK usually presents with abdominal pain, stomach pain, and
okay.
vomiting. So they can have, if it is very severe, they can have breathing difficulties. They can even go into coma also. So
Oh.
so this is very, these are all medical emergencies and they have to be
Mhm.
treated very immediately.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
other acute complication is called as HHS, that is called as hyperosmolar hyperglycemic coma. So
Mm,
this is usually seen in elderly people. Those are suffering from type 2 diabetes. So
mhm,
again, even this one also presents similarly with stomach pain, vomiting, altered sensorium. They can have
mm.
coma, so breathing difficulties will be there. Both these conditions, they are very, they are medical emergencies and they have to be treated immediately with insulin and fluids. So otherwise, they can land up in serious problems. So these are about the acute complications. Coming to chronic complications, so chronic complications are the one which develop over a period of time. They develop slowly. So
Okay.
these are most commonly occur whenever the sugar levels have been not controlled for a long period of time, which you commonly see in most of the people.
Mm,
So these
mm.
chronic complications include kidney damage, that is called as nephropathy, because of which people may land up having dialysis or renal transplant, and some people may develop retinopathy, that is which affects the eyes, causing loss of vision, and they can have neuropathy where there is damage of the nerves. So these are the
So,
common complications, and
so
apart
if a
from
person is diabetic, sorry for interrupting because
yeah.
it's concerns with this matter. That's why I'm doing this. So, if a person is diabetic and he's taking treatment for a long time, don't you think that it is wise to go and periodically check this nephrology, which is about kidney and the nerves and eye? Is
Yes,
it
yes.
mandatory?
Yes, this is most important. Like when we are managing or when you are treating diabetes, it's not just about controlling your sugar levels. So it's a
Okay.
broader aspect. We need to look into
Mm.
other things, like we need to control the blood pressure, we need to control the cholesterol levels. If the person is obese or overweight, we need to reduce, try
Mm.
something and reduce the weight. And if a person is smoker, then we need to ask him to stop that one. And apart from this, it's also necessary that we need to keep, do other health checkup in the form of eye examination or foot examination, and do some necessary blood tests frequently, at least once in 3 to 6 months, in the form of serum creatinine, which we do for knowing the kidney function.
Mm.
Then we
Mm.
need to do cholesterol test and also liver test. And
Okay.
apart from this, it's also important to do ECG and other heart-related tests in the form of TMT or, if required, angiogram to look for
Mm.
involvement of heart also, because
Okay.
sometimes heart issues can also happen in uncontrolled sugars, and if we can find it out immediately in the initial stages, then it can
Mm.
be controlled and it can be treated to prevent further complications.
Okay. Okay. Now let's move on to the fourth pillar that you mentioned. It is about monitoring. How
Yes.
can we monitor diabetes?
Yeah, monitoring is very important, because unless we monitor, we don't know where we stand, like what our sugar levels are. So, apart from the other three pillars, this is also very important pillar. And the worst part is most of the people neglect this one,
Mm.
because many people keep continuing taking medicines, but they don't check their sugars for years together.
Okay.
So unless we do the sugar test, we don't know what our sugar levels are. So it's very important to check sugars. So there are different protocols for testing, because some people who are on insulin, especially type 1 diabetic patients or even type 2 diabetic patients who have associated problems like kidney problem and those are taking insulin. So for them, we usually advise them to always keep a glucometer at home and do blood sugar checkup frequent, at least once in 2 to 3 days.
Mm.
And there are situations like a newly diagnosed type 2 diabetic whose sugars are not very high. For them, it's not necessary to do it very frequently. Even if they do it once in a month or once in 2 months, also it's fine.
Mm.
So these are about sugar levels. And coming to HbA1c, which gives us an average of last 3 months sugar levels. So we usually advise them to do HbA1c once in 3 months, and in few patients we can do it even once in 6 months also. But at least they have to do it at least once in 6 months at least. So this is about monitoring of sugar levels.
Yeah. So this first monitoring that with the glucometer, it may cost you some around 50 rupees per test. And I think it's something like that. It's not very expensive, I believe.
No, I
Am I
think
right?
it's less than that. And
Less than
it
50
cost
rupees.
about 20-25 rupees max.
Okay. But H1, HbA1c, that is a costly test, right?
That is costly, but we don't do it frequently also, because
Okay, okay.
maximum we do it is once in 3 months, and some people once in 6 months. So it just costs about 500 rupees, not more than that.
Okay. Now, one complaint that people say is, my blood sugar is fluctuating, especially those who are having the glucometer. They'll say, yeah, morning I checked it was 120 or 140, but after breakfast I checked it is 250, 280. It's like that. So, what is the reason for that? Even after medication?
That's what, as I told, no, each person will require different medicines, because what happens is the sugar levels in the body, they are very dynamic. They keep changing every second. So for some people, what happens is only if the fasting sugars are very high. Their after food values are normal, but for some people, the fasting sugars will be normal, but the after food values will shoot up suddenly. So there are multiple reasons for this, which are actually not known, and it depends upon multiple things like the patient factors also. So, and it depends upon the dietary factors, what the food they take. So that's the reason we advise them to keep monitoring sugars frequently. So they have to check the sugars both before food and after food, and depending upon the sugar levels, then we can adjust the doses of treatment, and or if required, we can change the medication, because there are certain medicines which will control only the fasting sugars. So they don't have any effect on the after food values.
Okay.
And there are medicines which will not control the fasting sugars. They will only control your after food values.
After food.
So yes. So depending upon whichever sugar levels are more, we can adjust the dose and types of treatment.
So, if you happen to take different types of food, there are varieties of food, so then there should be a change in the sugar level also, right?
Yes.
So, how will you manage that? Because we can't eat the same food every day, though. It becomes very difficult. I'm talking in a very practical term.
Yes. So, okay, this is very difficult for most of the people to adhere for a long time. So that's what we can do is just try to reduce the food which will increase the sugars all of a sudden, like which have high glycemic index. So like simple sugars, like direct sweets. So if we can avoid direct sweets and replace them with carbohydrates, like whole grains, so they'll be absorbed very slowly, and which will lead to gradual increase in the sugar levels. So this is one minor adjustment what we can do in diet. And the other thing is like most of the people, it's not necessary that they should completely avoid taking sweets. If there is any function or there is any occasion, any festivals are there, they can take sweets. Not that they should completely avoid it. But on the day of, whenever they take some extra sweets or any simple carbohydrates, they should see that they restrict the intake of other food.
Right.
By that, they can just minor modifications in the quantity of different food components. They can make adjustments.
So, which means there is an allowed amount of carbohydrate or sugar in your food. You are taking medicine, but you have to make sure that you don't exceed that.
Yes.
Okay.
The overall the calorie intake should be kept normal, but food items can be changed slightly.
Okay. Now, another. This is out of curiosity. Why diabetes is so prevalent in India? What is the reason?
That's what the main thing is the lifestyle which has changed of late, and that's the reason India is called as the world's capital of diabetes. So if you look at the prevalence of diabetes, almost close to 9 to 10% of Indian population, they are suffering from diabetes. Okay, almost right now we have more than 77 million people in India alone who are having diabetes. The main cause is the lifestyle changes that have occurred in the last couple of decades,
Okay.
because most of them, they have stopped going out for working. Most of them are they work in a sitting position for a long time. They don't get time to go for do physical activity, and even the diet pattern has completely changed, because most of them take junk food and eat outside food, and which contains lots of fried items and oily items and lots of sweets. So the amount of intake of fruits, vegetables, and other fiber content foods has come down because of these changes. And apart from this, the other important factor is the amount of stress, because most of the people, they have lots of stress due to multiple reasons, the job related to job or their occupation. So all these factors combined, the diet, the lifestyle, and the stress, so all these factors have led to increase in the prevalence of diabetes in India for the last couple of decades.
Now, there are also a talk like, this is a genetic disorder that if your parents got diabetes, then there is a possibility that you children also will get it. Is that
Yeah.
true?
It's not 100% true, but to some extent, if there is a family history of diabetes, the risk will be more. So what studies have found is there is 60% risk of developing diabetes if the parents are diabetic. So if this risk will increase to 80% if both the parents are diabetic. It's not that every children who is born to diabetic people will have diabetes, but again the risk will be more. But it is again increased due to the lifestyle and other environmental factors.
Okay. Now, what about juvenile diabetes? Is that also like this, or it's a very
Juvenile
unfortunate
diabetes.
thing?
So juvenile diabetes, like maybe if you had asked this question about 10 years back, I would have said it's just type 1 diabetes, because most of the juvenile diabetes that occurs is type 1 diabetes usually. That is where the insulin production is not there, and they will require insulin for a for life. But nowadays, so because of change in the lifestyle, and there is increase in the prevalence of overweight and obesity in children also, because we see many children who are obese or overweight. So because of this, even younger individuals are developing type 2 diabetes. So nowadays, so if a juvenile diabetes comes, then we need to rule out both the things. We just not cannot just stick on and say that it's type 1 diabetes. It could be type 2 diabetes also. So we need to do physical examination and see whether they are overweight or not. And we need to look into other. There are certain blood tests which will differentiate between the two, whether it's type 1 or type. So we can do these blood tests and then decide whether it's type 1 or type 2 diabetes. So apart from type 1 and type 2 diabetes, there are other rare causes called as MODY, which is maturity onset diabetes in young, which is commonly seen in younger age groups, less than 30 years. But that is very rare. It's not very common. So commonly we see is type 1 or type 2 diabetes in younger individuals.
Okay. Now we get people calling us and telling, because it's a radio station. People sometimes call and tell us that, I am diagnosed with diabetes and I have to take medicine for the rest of my life. And people are so depressed.
Yes.
What do you have to tell them?
I think there's nothing to be worried about, because diabetes is a very simple problem if we take care from the beginning itself. Okay.
Okay.
So only thing is, when we neglect diabetes in the initial couple of years, that it leads to lots of complications in future. Of course, many people they get disturbed, they get depressed whenever diabetes is diagnosed. But they should understand that it's a very simple disease, and they should not be worried too much about it if they take proper precautions and proper treatment regularly. So there is there is no chance that they can develop any complications. If you want, I can give you an example of my own patients. About a year back, I just saw one lady who was 73 years old lady. She had come, she was planned for some surgery, and she came for just opinion. And she brought up the sugar levels done, and it was absolutely fine. HbA1c was 6.5%, which is absolutely fine, and sugars were controlled. And I just asked, since how many years do you have diabetes? To be when I heard the answer, I was really shocked. She told it's been 43 years. At the age of 30, yeah, at the age of 30 years, she was diagnosed diabetes, and she was just taking only one tablet, not even insulin, not even other tablets. With just one tablet, her sugars were very well controlled. So I just asked, what did you do all these 40 years to control your sugar levels so well? So the thing was very simple. What she told was just do diet regularly. She avoided sweets, taking sweets and other fried items, oily items. Apart from occasions, she used to take those, but regularly she avoided all those things. and
Okay.
she gave 30 minutes of every day to do some physical activity. She regularly visited the doctor once in 6 months and took the proper guidance. So that's
Okay.
what she did. She didn't do anything extraordinary, and
Okay.
with just one tablet, she was able to maintain sugar levels for 40 years without any
Oh,
problem.
that's great. That's a very
And
encouraging story,
if you
doctor.
want, I'll just give another example, which I saw a couple of months back. One person is a well-educated person, 35 years old male patient. He was diagnosed diabetes 10 years back at the age of 25. So his sugars were very high initially, and he was started on insulin initially. And once the sugars came down, he was put on tablets, and insulin was stopped. So what he did was he continued the tablets for next 3 months. His sugars were under control, so he was fine. Then without consulting doctor, he stopped taking medicines. So, and he didn't go for follow-up also for the last 9 years. Okay, so then suddenly 1 year back, he had some symptoms. He was feeling very weak, and he went to a doctor to get it checked, and it was found the sugars were very high. It was more than 500. But unfortunately, the problem was his creatinine was 10. That is, both kidneys had stopped functioning. So now he's being planned for kidney transplant.
Oh my,
This is what happens. So
that's
if
very
you
sad.
so these are just told these examples to know the importance
Yes.
of treating or managing diabetes from the beginning. If we neglect it, it can cause problem. If we follow the proper guidance, then diabetes is just like a it's like just like a normal companion. It doesn't cause any
Okay.
problem.
Thank you so much, doctor. It was very good. That we should remember diabetes is a simple disease. It can be treated and maintained very well with simple medication and some simple principles that we heard. 4 pillars: uh, diet, exercise, medication, and monitoring. And then if you neglect, this can be very dangerous. So please take care of your diabetes, take care of your diet, your exercise, medication, and keep monitoring. Dr. Santosh, thank you so much. It has been great speaking to you. Your information will be a great help to many of us who are diabetes. Even I am a diabetic patient. Thank you so much for your valuable information. Uh,
Yeah,
Thanks a
thank you.
lot from FIBA.
Thanks. Thank you.